Assalamu alaikum, everyone. After a short break, we're thrilled to bring you today's insightful episode with our guest, Oumaima, a PhD student in Bioscience. Join us as we explore the unique world of PhD studies, what sets it apart from undergraduate and master's program. Oumaima's journey into academia, her experiences choosing a supervisor, and her current research progress. We'll also delve into Oumaima's passion for reading, with practical tips on staying engaged and enhancing writing skills. Whether you're pursuing higher education or simply love learning, you're in for an enlightening discussion today. So as usual, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
You are now listening to the Castronics podcast.
Hosted by MBS, Maryam and Hajar.
Weekly episodes are coming up, so stay tuned.
We wanted to talk about the type of pressure that PhD students go through, basically, with regards to, in comparison to bachelor's and master's students.
Because you don't know exactly where you are sometimes. Sometimes you cannot see the end of the road.
In PhD?
Yeah, in PhD. If you don't have a clear flowchart, you don't know where you are. Are you reaching the end or no? Is it going to be soon or no? Do you have a motivation to continue the next step or no? Sometimes you don't have it. So
at least that's a point for undergrads. We know we have 4 years. Even though we don't know what we're going to do after the 4 years.
No, it's not like that. At least let's say for undergrads.
He says there's an end to it.
You have a subject, let's say, and then you are taking your exam, and then you get your result, and then you already passed the year, right?
Yeah.
For PhDs, it's not like that. It doesn't work like that. It's something, that you are doing research. You cannot see the result soon. You can only say that you passed that step once you publish that paper, which is going to take 2 or 1 year and a half something without seeing anything. And of course, it's going to make you more than anxious, put a lot of pressure on, let's say, on your soul or something if you cannot handle that stress very well using different way. For example, you can use reading to reduce that kind of pressure or something, to escape to another era.
But then don't you have a timeline or some sort of plan that shows you where you stand?
Of course you have.
Because you're not supposed to be lost at any moment of time. You should be knowing whether you're on the path, you're outside of track.
You are on the path actually, but sometimes you need to change your path a bit. If, for example, because you are doing research, basically you don't know what is the result, because if you know the result, this is not a research anymore. So let's say, you plan your work, and then you are, let's say, giving an hypothesis something, and then you're answering or solving the problem. You don't know if this result is going to be positive or negative. So if it's positive, that's okay. If it's negative, you have to step back and then read again, look again, what's going on, what's the problem, back to your basics, because sometimes you say, it doesn't work, but why? If you go back to the fact of the information or whatever, sometimes the information said 1 + 1 it's equal to 2, right? Sometimes for PhD, no. Sometimes maybe it's 1 + 1, or maybe 1 + 0.5 first, and then 0 another 0.5, something like that. You need to amend, you need to adjust something, so you get this thing. And
it's not always straightforward.
It's literally a flowchart.
It's never a straightforward thing. It's never.
I thought you were kidding when you said flowchart. No, it's literally if you follow the flowchart, then if it doesn't work, you go back and then. Oh my God, it's so cool.
Well, I'm getting excited here, so welcome back to the Castronics podcast, everyone. Today we're joined with a very unique guest, Oumaima Marwa. Welcome, Oumaima.
Hello, welcome.
Could you please just introduce yourself very shortly to the people so they can know who you are, basically?
Okay. If I would say, you want to know about Oumaima or about Marwa, because it's totally different.
Oh my God.
Okay, we want to know Oumaima the person, and then Marwa the figure.
Can we say the inverse of it? Because let's say...
Okay, let's talk about Oumaima.
Okay, let's talk about Oumaima. Oumaima, she's a PhD student doing a bioscience project, manipulating enzymes and protein, bacteria, and so on. I'm 27 years old. This is Oumaima. But if we are talking about Marwa, it's kind of another story. I'm someone who like to read a lot, like to explore. For me, seeing, let's say, the sky from one place is such a waste. This is why I like to explore. Such a waste.
That's an interesting way of saying it.
Yeah, because the sky is very vast. And then it's not fair to see it only from one spot, maybe.
Yeah, but does it just look the same for everyone?
Maybe. But the thing that Marwa likes the most, maybe reading, giving me this kind of romanticizing life, maybe, to see the nature from another perspective, maybe.
Hajar would understand that. I wouldn't. Hajar would understand that.
Yeah, I would, because I'm also into reading.
She's like 100% agreeing with everything Oumaima is saying.
She was nodding while I was speaking. So what's your take on looking at the sky from different places? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, like, you know, if you look at the sky from one place, okay, and then there is another place, and they also look at the sky, okay, theoretically speaking, it is the same sky. But then when you look at the sky, it's a different perspective.
What you feel at the moment, what I feel, what you feel,
exactly.
Totally different.
It's different. It's totally different.
What I see or what she sees or what you see, it's totally different.
So it's more about the emotions that are attached to it, more than the sight.
Of course, isn't it the emotion kind of the thing that directs us in life?
People that read have a lot of emotions, so that's something that I try to relate to.
Okay.
You know, I fade at times.
All right.
Non-reading team, reading team.
Yeah.
Mariam and I, let's go.
It's been what? This is my second year trying to finish. I don't know how much. It's probably like 8 chapters, like a book that's 8 chapters, and it's like so tiny. And I'm still in chapter 4. It's so sad. I need to return the book to the dude.
You also
I hope
have
I do it
one
before
book.
Graduation.
You still have my book.
This is so sad. I still have her book that I did not read, and I don't think I plan on reading. Oh
What's
my
the
god!
title of the book?
Which one? That I'm still in chapter 4.
She doesn't even know the title. Oh my lord!
It's called Fatatni Salah, and it's really nice. But yeah, I do not have the discipline to continue. I don't know how. I don't actually know why, because I used to read a lot, and then my mom found that out, and then she got me literature books, and now I no longer read. Yeah, so it's sad. And then the book that I took from Hajar is, what is it called?
Alchemist.
Yeah, it sounds fun, but I did not read it. Anyways.
How do you combat that? Because I get what Mariam is saying. Sometimes I see titles. So I'm following this page on Instagram. It's called Read and Rise. So basically the guy, what he does is he reads a book and then he highlights the important passages. He posts it online and then he puts the name of the book, okay? So sometimes I see one of those books and they get really interesting. So I go online, I download the PDF, because I'm a PDF guy. I don't, I'm very digital.
You cannot feel the reading.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of the problem. But
maybe.
Let's say that problem is solved. Okay? Let's say that I get even the physical book. And I try to read, but I just never stay consistent anymore. Because I used to read bike when I was younger. But now I just don't have that drive anymore. I feel like after a few days, I just want to do something else, and just detach away from that kind of feeling.
Okay, maybe we can talk about this later on. We can give a plan for that. Maybe I try to share my tips on how I used to read like every single day, just like 10 minutes something to keep you on track.
Okay, sure thing. Well, back to you being a PhD student, basically. So you're studying bioscience, is that correctly?
I'm doing a bioscience project.
And currently you're at the end of your...
I'm a 4th year PhD candidate. Hopefully this is going to be my last year, inshallah.
Inshallah.
We graduate together.
And how's your research going? Because we actually, the thing is, we don't have many discussions with PhD students, so we sometimes fail to see their own perspectives and how they go through university life in general. So can you take us through the normal struggles of a PhD student in a daily life at UTM?
Okay, let's talk about PhD first. Okay, being a PhD candidate needs a lot of strength, mentally, physically, and in all the perspective in life that you can imagine. Because even though that you have a supervisor, you have someone who guide you, but basically no one should knows more or extra information about your project. You are the one who should know everything about your project, because later on in your viva, you are the one who's going to be questioned. You need to answer why you use this, from where you get this, why it's like that. You are kind of contributing to the knowledge, giving something new. You should have this discipline before everything so you can continue. Some people, while doing PhD, they only use their motivation to continue their work, which actually doesn't work at all, because our mental health it depends on our result. Can you imagine this?
Oh.
Yeah, depends on our result.
That's interesting.
If the result positive, you will be happy. But what if the result negative? And then not only for one time, maybe for many times. Maybe you'll be doing the same experiment or the same work for 3-4 months without seeing any light, without seeing what's going on, why it's negative, how can I improve, what can I do? And then, honestly, no one will come and tell you, you have to do this, you have to do that. Because it's quite different. This is your project. Maybe someone will help. Maybe will give support. Maybe will guide you somehow. But no one will knows the small details about your work.
So you should be the one who knows the most about it.
Of course.
Yeah, so you have to be really educated on the topic to be able to
You have to master your topic.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that every single topic is unique, right?
Of course.
You should come with something new.
You have to.
And, okay, so how do you even do that? Because I see when you're registering for PhD or master's even in philosophy, you need to come up with a research proposal.
Research proposal, okay. UTM.
How do you think about the idea?
The idea from where you get
the new thing that you want to invent
project,
or
right.
innovate.
You can only figure it out after reading. You need to read a lot, because you are bringing something new, contributing something new, right? So you need to read as much as you can, so you know that those people already finished this work. Okay? Sometimes when you read papers, okay, you will find something like future perspective. Okay? What you can do more regarding this topic, how you can improve this work, because science is like this. You can always improve. You can always give extra. For example, someone stopped here, someone will come and then continue. This is what happened before with a scientist, and this is what's going to happen. So this is how. But for UTM supervisors or UTM lecturers will kind of help you to give you the title first, to give you the idea maybe.
The skeleton.
Just overall idea. They can guide.
A preview.
Kind of. Because they know more, and then they're trying to help the student.
We just had a conversation about how everyone uses ChatGPT to do their research. What are you talking about?
Well, that's something that I wanted to address later.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so?
So, in summary, the lecturer is the one that's going to propose
Can help
help
you to create the idea first. Okay. After that, once you already have the title or the idea, you already know from where to begin, right? So now you need to read. You are not doing anything for 3 or 4, maybe even 1 semester, 6 months, just reading and then trying to divide your work into objective 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, this objective number 1, you need these skills, you need these techniques, you need this protocol to achieve this objective. For this one, for example, let's say you are doing characterization thing and so on. You need to divide into small tasks for 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm sorry for laughing, but the thing is, this needs a lot of strength. Of course. If you give me 1 semester just reading, you know what I would do? I would go to sleep. I'm not going to read. So yeah. The motivation you need to undertake this is crazy.
Okay, for example, what our supervisor usually used to do, that in your first semester, she will give you an idea to write a review paper. Review paper means that you are reading a lot, reading many papers, trying to summarize other people's work, and then you give your opinion. This is what review paper means. So once you are reading a lot, you're already building your knowledge. You are not writing yet in your dissertation, or you haven't started even your lab work maybe, but you're already getting the knowledge regarding your topic, kind of. So 6 months, you are reading, trying to read and write the review paper. Same time, you are planning your work. So when you enter the lab, or when you start to do your whatever, computational work, lab work, whatever, you already know, say, the big lines from where you should start. Then what's the first step?
You have an idea.
You have an
overview.
Because if someone think that the supervisor, the lecturer, will give you the protocol, how you will start, it's a big joke.
That does not happen like that.
Of course, no. You are the one who gonna read, and then you go, okay, you read, kind of modify the protocol, and then you go to discuss this with your lecturer or your supervisor. I want to do that. Maybe we will change this. During this conversation, she or he will help. Okay, this is not going to work. Maybe we amend this. But you cannot go to someone, ask him, okay, can you please give me a protocol how to do that? This is your project. This is your PhD.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Will not help them much.
Interesting.
Sounds very cool.
The more you speak, the more I realize that I'm just not ready to become a PhD student. And
okay, do you know something? Why I started this PhD in the first place?
I was going to ask that question.
There you go.
I was actually going to ask that question.
Please tell us.
For example, during our undergrad, we did a lot of internship and so on. I was doing my undergrad in biology. So I did 2 internships in biomed analysis lab. It was fantastic.
Where was that?
Amazing. Biomed analysis lab.
Where was that?
In Algeria.
Okay, interesting.
So
you're Algerian?
Yeah, I am Algerian. Yeah, we forgot this. I'm an Algerian girl.
Yes.
Okay, so during that time, I was like, okay, it was interesting because you are dealing kind of with cells, blood, and so on, and all these EMA2 things and so on. But you know what? By each passing day, I realized that my motivation to do the routine thing decreased. Like, I feel like, okay, this is not what I really want to do for the rest of my career life, for example. I cannot tolerate doing the same, maybe, duties for, 15, 20 years. So I felt like, okay, this is the routine thing for any job. Gonna be like this. But research, you need to explore different field. Maybe 3-4 years, you can change the field. For example, now I'm working on something. After I finish my PhD, maybe I will do something else. Maybe I will be exploring another area. Maybe now I'm biotech. Maybe I will go to microbiology. Maybe I will back to ecologist, for example. I can change because this is research. Because I already have the basic. So I can go wherever I want.
Yeah, you're flexible.
You're opening my eyes to new things.
Same.
Yeah, this is why kind of PhD student maybe will consider doing research job or research project or something like this. At least for me.
So since your bachelor's, you already had the idea that you wanted to pursue your PhD?
Yes.
So you went on to pursue your master's first, and then you went on to PhD, or?
Of course.
Okay.
This is not. After I finished 2 months, I was like, okay, this is not for me. Maybe for someone else, but this is not for me because I cannot really tolerate this kind of work sometimes. So I was like, okay, I will continue my postgrad studies, master. After I finished this one, okay, directly I registered for master. I did my master in applied biochemistry.
Okay.
And then after that, I just registered directly, straight away, doing my PhD in biotechnology, biochemistry lab.
Interesting. And are you enjoying your journey so far in UTM?
Yes, I do. I mean, for PhD, it depends, of course, on your work, your mental health, your strength, your work, but your environment, basically your supervisor.
It does play a big role.
Of course. Because if you have someone, let's say, okay, you have expert in this field, but let's say this person is not really considering you as a human being first.
Ooh.
For example, because some lecturers, some supervisor, they only put you under that pressure to see result. But sometimes it's gonna be very tiring because you are a student, okay? You are an international student, and then you are doing your project. You get tired sometimes,
Of course.
So, of course, the supervisor has like, let's say, if your project maybe 50, maybe the supervisor did another 50% in your PhD path.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why did you choose UTM? Or like, how did you get to choose your supervisor?
Okay, to be honest, Malaysia in the first place wasn't my first choice. Wasn't my first choice for many reasons. But الخير فيما اختاره الله.
Definitely.
So it's UTM. Why UTM? I used to search a lot because how you can choose a good supervisor, because okay, this is a good lecturer, but maybe she's not or he's not a good supervisor. Someone like maybe good in delivering the information cannot be good enough in supervising someone else's project or something, right? So I just did my research based on what I want to do, what kind of project I want to work, okay? Some research, and then I found that this person, she is like quite active in publishing paper. So basically she's a good researcher. So okay, I found, okay, she's from UTM. And this is how I choose UTM, based on the topic first, and then based on someone expert in the field.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very different from bachelor's. In bachelor's, basically, people try to look for the program that they want to get enrolled in, and then they choose a country, and then eventually they get to the university. Whereby in postgrad studies or research studies, what I've seen is they try to find the project that they want to work on, just like you said.
Because
and then
if you don't really have passion on that project, you cannot continue.
Exactly. That's all you do. You don't have subjects. You don't have. So it's really the essence of your life at that point.
Because if you don't have really that kind of passion, or if you really, let's say, you don't like that topic or something, you cannot continue. Many people like have to change. Maybe after 1 year, 2 years, they have to change their topic to another area because they didn't like, not because they don't want to do research. No, they didn't like that topic in the first place. So can you imagine? After 1 year or something, you're already like prepared, you already started, for example, lab work or something, and then you feel like, no, I don't really like this one.
Do you know people who've done that?
Yeah. I have a friend. Okay, she's not from UTM, but in another university, she had to do that because she was working something like biomed while she's a microbiologist. So she didn't really relate to that topic. She felt like, okay, I cannot see myself there. So after 2 years, she had to change the topic, and of course the supervisor, it's such a waste kind of, because it's 2 years.
Of course. I mean, how did she feel after that? Did she feel better at least that she finally changed to something?
Now she's feeling better. But it was kind of hard decision to take.
Definitely.
I think so.
I mean, 2-3 years just like that is...
Because you're already halfway, right?
I don't think it's a waste though, because like she actually learned something at the end.
Of course, but
that's one way of seeing it.
If you see it from the
but on the long run, let's say that you had goals. For example, you wanted after 4 years, when I'm done with this PhD, I wanted to do this and that, and all of a sudden I have to postpone my goal 3 years later, just because I didn't like the first topic. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Allah's plan.
Yeah, if there is something
at
about
the end,
this
you're
life,
always happy with Allah's plan, but you just can't help but regret
whatever you plan, it's never gonna go accordingly. So it's Allah's plan, as she exactly says.
I feel like the life of like a PhD student is very elongated. Like the life of an undergrad student, you have 1 semester, you finish that stuff, forget about it,
back, and then
move
you
on.
start
Yes,
something.
and then you're finally done, and you're going to be done in 4 years. But then in PhD, you're like, okay, we'll
even
spend
in PhD,
6 months reading, and then we'll spend I don't know how long
to do lab
practicing
work or
and
something.
planning, and then so it's like very elongated,
Somehow it feels like an FYP, but like a longer...
An extended FYP.
FYP is nothing compared to PhD.
Yeah, I understand that, of course.
Yeah, for
I can help
point,
understand.
to understand.
When last semester, when we had this research methodology workshop, So a thing that was stuck in my brain was the difference between a master's, PhD, and undergrad, the FYP. So in FYP, you have 75% practical work, and then just 25% research. And then in master's, it's 50-50. And then in PhD, 75%.
Kind of, you are doing research.
And then just 25% the applied practical part. Because in FYP or like undergrad, they just want to know that you learn stuff and then you can apply what you learn. But then in PhD, they're like, okay, we want something new. I don't care. Just like
Actually, it's not really like that, because even though that, okay, you need to master your topic in PhD, for example, but you need to have the basic that you took during your undergrad study, because that one, you will, okay, for example, you have a result, you get a result, you cannot explain what's going on without this basic that you already took in your undergrad. So you need to merge everything together. Okay, master your topic, improve your skills in different, let's say, aspects, for example, and then same thing. You need this basic information.
Interesting. Well, PhD is... Before we go to the reading, it's known that obviously PhD students and masters in philosophy have papers to publish. Now, with the recent trends of AI, we've seen some really funny stuff online. And among them, we've seen articles whereby people don't even produce them themselves. I've seen a very funny LinkedIn post whereby someone posted, he showed us an article, and the very first sentence of the article was, I cite, "As a language model, I cannot provide you with the..." So you think about how people are changing, even in PhD studies and, masters and that kind of overall field. Don't you think that writing is getting obsolete in some ways? Is there really the need to write anymore in this day and age that we live in?
We're talking about PhD, right?
Yeah, we're talking about postgrad.
Okay. Postgrad studies.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can write, right? But before even at that step of writing, we need the result. And then we need hypothesis. We need to ask the right question to get the right answer. So how you can even get that data or that information or that result without doing something like lab work, for example? How can that AI fabricate a new data? I don't think so.
Well,
because doing PhD means that you need to create or bring something new, novelty, inventive steps, and so on. Without all this, it has nothing.
Definitely, but the extension to that question is, what is really, truly the importance of articles? I know that you can learn from them, you gain knowledge from them, but then now people take them in a different angle, whereby, okay, I'm doing my PhD.
You need to compare your work. You need to compare your work. Okay, how do you say that your work is valid or no? Without comparing this work to others. We don't really, sometimes, we are doing maybe...
You want to see where you stand, basically?
No, you need to compare your work. So, because doing research, you don't really know if this result is okay or no. You have basic, we know that, for example, 50% is okay. But you need to compare this 50% with other people's work. Someone find that, this percentage is quite low. Someone find maybe the result is 95% something. Someone else find that 80% is the highest, for example, in his research. Let's say, you need to compare your data with those data so you know where are you. Is it that good? Is it that bad? It's your reference. You need to refer to them so you know where are you exactly.
So you want to basically compare yourself to others so you can know where to stand in your results. It's like a knowledge-based inference kind of thing.
Because without papers, without reading, you cannot write. This is first. Because you need to read a lot before you are able even to write one sentences in your dissertation or in your paper. This is first. And then if you don't read their works, how you know that your work is even valid? If that result is positive or negative. For example, I'm doing something, I'm calculating something, yield something. So I will say, my yield is 20%. Maybe 20% is good. How can I know it's bad? Not only because 20%, because maybe many factors affected this result or something. I need to refer to someone else. I need to compare my work with someone else who did this. Not exactly what I did, but we share something common, so I can know. This is why we need papers.
Okay, so I think I understand her perspective. So from our perspective, it's like we're writing a lot, and it's like the whole thing, we basically don't have that much knowledge. But as you said, you have like 6 months to like read only about the topic, and then you're actually creating the work from your own, from like by yourself. So I think when we're using like ChatGPT or AI to like write the reports, it's basically because we don't have that much knowledge.
Please speak for yourself.
Sure.
You know that ChatGPT can give you a bad result, or for example, let's say
it makes up results.
Incorrect information. You know that?
Yes. That's why we have to 100% verify everything we take from any AI.
Okay.
Ever.
The thing is, we write ourselves what we do, how we can use this technology, and then to facilitate or to help us, for example, in our project or in our research. We do write ourselves. We improve ourselves. We are the one who did this work, okay? And then we can use this technology to improve the quality, for example, of the language, to check for as the grammar and so on.
There you go.
Paraphrase and all these stuff. Of course, we use it. We can use technology to summarize for us, give us like the most important information, because sometimes we read the whole paper, for example, just to get one sentence talking about one specific information. We can use this technology. We can use the AI just to extract it.
There you go. That's what I think is an ethical way of using ChatGPT. And I used to say that the fact that when you're doing your projects, for example, because obviously AI is going to mess up in the informations. So if I talk about myself, how I use ChatGPT, I'm not a good example, but if I talk about how I use it, I try to... So everything that I do related to my project, I use the same chat. Well, now ChatGPT has this feature whereby it can understand multiple chats at the same time. But nevertheless, so all the information that I have in my project, I keep updating the same chat with it. So then I get to the end of my project, and then I just ask the AI, oh, what is my project about? And it knows exactly what I'm talking about. So then when I write a sentence or when I write a paragraph, it can automatically correct my sentences, it can correct my grammar. And that's, I think, is a good use of AI, rather than just making up results and references.
Okay, let me just be honest with you. No matter what, AI is gonna be never something like a human being brain. This is like...
That's for now. That's for now.
I don't think even for the future.
Bro, I dealt with ChatGPT enough to know that, like...
Not even ChatGPT, we are talking about the brain,
like, yeah.
the human being brain. Do you know what can do?
She's a biologist, she knows.
I'd love... well, the thing is, I'd love to agree with you.
Okay.
But the fact is, when you listen to what CEOs of those AI's companies, they say that the current models that we have of those, AI models, say ChatGPT. Recently, I saw a sentence from Sam Altman, the CEO, who's saying that the current model that we have is probably going to be the dumbest model that will ever be produced. So you can try to imagine what's coming next. And to say that it's probably not going to get to the level of human beings, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to get very close to it.
If you allow me to say that, God, He's the one who created the brain, okay?
But I'm not talking about moral consciousness right now.
I'm talking about the one the one who is developing this AI. He's a human being. Who created that brain, that human being in the first place? Can you imagine that? Yes. So, no matter what that person develop, he still can develop only what God allow him to develop.
Indeed.
This is the thing.
My take here is that AI mimics the human brains. It's not totally like it. Obviously, it can never get to the same level of perfection that Allah has created our brains, obviously. However, human beings only use a fraction of their intelligence. The thing is, most of us don't use 100% of our brains, whereby AI uses 100% of the capacity that you give it. So in that sense, sometimes AI can be more intelligent than a human being. But if we speak about the capacity, obviously a human being is unmatched. because that's the creation of Allah.
For me, I cannot wait to see what AI can do in the future.
I can't wait. Let's see if we live long enough for that, inshallah. But it's going to be interesting.
My dad always says that the things, the technologies that like are commercialized or like sent out to the public, is the worst and dumbest thing that has been developed. And that once they release the technology to us, there's something way better inside.
Of course.
That's why we should be researchers, to go inside and see what they're doing.
Think about this. The US Army has been using smartphones since last century. And we only got it in the mid-2010s. So you can imagine what they have and that we don't have. But
this is why you need to be a researcher. So I figured out.
So we can go see what they're doing.
The rules are convincing me, but I'm still thinking about it. Speaking about readings, Mariam was talking about reading there.
Reading is hard. You need patience. I think it also relates to your learning. What is it called? The learning ability? No, learning way. What is it? Like the VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. That's how people learn. So it's either your visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, or like it's not only one. It's like usually a mix of both. So I think reading goes to that, and yeah, after like thinking a lot, I think if you like can't really discipline like make yourself focus on like reading something, maybe you can try to listen to audiobooks or something, because maybe like the difficulty in reading itself, like reading the actual words and like from a book, is the problem to some people's learning ability.
Anything in life needs effort, right? Anything needs effort to make it work, right?
Yes.
So even the reading skill, or let's say reading habit, is like a muscle, right? We train it, so we use it or we lose it.
Yes.
So it's same thing.
Okay, if you say that reading is a skill, then okay, that's different.
Yeah, you can develop it actually. Talking about myself as a reader, okay, since I was young, I've born and raised in a house full of books. So this kinda give me maybe accessibility to different books, different titles, helped me to explore more maybe. The stories or books or magazine was kind of reward for me after let's say my good result of exam, let's say something, or maybe after, I don't know, good behavior as a kid maybe. So I used to read a lot, magazines, and then stories, and then the quality started to develop to novels, history, a bit philosophy, autobiography. So it started like this.
So since you were a kid, your parents always nurtured you in the fact that you love reading and you love exploring books and...
Yeah, but I believe that it was only the seed. They only put the seed maybe. Okay, they facilitate this. Okay, you have this book, you have this story, maybe you can write, maybe you can read, maybe you try to write your diary, what's going on with you during the day, something like this. And then you have to water that seed yourself. You have to try yourself. You have to find what you really like to read yourself. Because parents, they only give you maybe stories like for kids, something to entertain you, that's all. But after that, the reading started to be an escape for me from the reality, from the stress, from many things. I just go in my area and just open my book, then I start just reading. What happened is sometimes my mom used to say that when I was young, she used to, when she checked, for example, after me at night, she will find a book between my arms, a book on my face while sleeping. So it started like this. But I believe that everyone can develop this skill. Even, let's say, you didn't start reading at early age, for example, but you still can do it now. With just like small tips, maybe.
Those are the tips that we want to know. But coming back to what Mariam was saying, it's true that people learn differently, whereby you have people that are visual, people that learn by listening, and people that learn by, What was the third sense?
Kinesthetic, like touch and feelings and senses.
Okay, so learning by touch. Interesting. So now, but I'm still convinced that the fundamental way of learning is obviously reading. And that's why the first verse that was ever revealed in the Quran was Iqra. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Because reading is the best way or the fundamental way by which someone learns. However, now coming back to the tips, what are some, because right now it's like a team, you know? It's like we have the team non-readers and Hajar and Oumaima are the readers here. So we want to know what are the practical steps that someone can undertake for them to either come back to reading, for my case, for example, or to stick to that 4 chapters book that they haven't read for so long, sorry.
I hate to
I'm
break
definitely
it.
not targeting you.
Attacked.
I hate to
Mariam.
break it to y'all, but I'm actually in your team now because I stopped reading a long time ago.
A long time ago?
How long?
Long time
Like,
ago.
Define long time, because I saw you read a few months back.
How long?
when?
A few months back.
You
Few
just
months
finished
when? Before the
Alchemist.
semester. Bro, Alchemist, I finished it a long time ago. I just remember what was going on in the story.
You're a fraud.
What do you mean I'm a fraud? Yeah, it's been a while. I lost interest.
You lost interest. Then we need your help.
Yeah, we need help now.
Please guide us.
Maybe for someone, say for beginner, you need to know what's really catch your attention. Okay, you all guys watch movie, series, something, right?
I don't.
Yes.
Your favorite movie?
I don't
What
have
kind
one.
of type?
Oh, comedies.
I don't watch movies.
Series?
Actually, I don't watch series nor movies.
Nothing like...
No, I watch YouTube if you want.
So boring. So boring.
How about you?
I like cinematic, I guess.
Maybe.
Sentimental.
Actually, something that can really help you to start read or to start or to back to reading or something, you need something that catch your attention. A title that really makes you, okay, I want to read this one. You can use your, say, the thing that you really want to watch, or the title, the type of the thing that you want to watch, you can use it in a book. Can you imagine?
I get that all the time by watching that Instagram account that I'm talking about. But I never get myself to continue reading.
Mechatronics people are ruined.
You need
It's
to
very
set a
sad
goal.
indeed.
You need to set a goal. For example, let's say you have a story with 60 pages. You say, okay, I want to finish this story within 2 months. A realistic goal. 1 page per day. Only 1 page per day. Can you imagine?
Stick to something consistent.
Yeah, stick to something like very easy, and then you can do it anywhere, anytime. I would recommend that you use a real book, not a PDF one.
Yeah, I also agree with that.
I'll consider
This is
that.
really gonna really help you, because now we are trying to create a new
habit.
habit. We don't really care about the quality of what you are reading. No, we are trying to develop these skills in the first place. Reading, writing, maybe. But let's start with reading first. So you need to set a goal, and then you need to set a time. At what time you are gonna read every day? 5 minutes, but at what time? You need to use the time that when you are really at your peak of your energy. Let's say you are an early person, for example. You take 5 minutes in the morning while you are having your coffee, something, just to read the 1 page. If no, you can have that 5 minutes while you are having your tea time, for example, in the evening. But you need to set a time that this 5 minutes is gonna be my reading time. As I said, everything needs effort, right?
Yeah, discipline.
And then need discipline. So, believe me, when you start reading just only 1 page, 5 minutes, you will find yourself finishing more than 1 page. Because basically 1 page only needs maybe, 30 seconds, 1 minute maybe, to finish 1 page. And here is the thing. 1 page doesn't mean that the idea already finished. What the writer is trying to deliver, of course, is not going to be in 1 page. So you will follow. You will continue reading maybe 2 or 3 pages. And this is how you can start. But basically, you need to start with a story, a short story, because novel have something like different stories in one story. So for beginner, I would not recommend a novel. It's gonna be quite hard because you need to focus a lot to understand what's going on. Maybe you start with a short story first.
But I guess the topic depends on the type of person, what they want to read. For example, if I talk about myself, I'm interested in books that speak about psychology, how to understand people, how to get into their minds, business-oriented kind of books. So I think when it comes to the topic, it really depends on the people. But then when I come back to the steps that you've just mentioned, so choosing something that you can stick to for a long period of time, obviously, and stay consistent on, and discipline, right? I think we can summarize them.
But we said that we don't really care about the quality for now, for beginner. We don't really care what you are reading. We are just trying to create this skill in you first.
Yeah, to instill this habit in yourself.
You know, something that I used to do back in first and second year of university, I used to get bored in between classes. So I would pull out a book and I start reading in between classes. Because like that was the only time that I don't think I want to study in between. And I didn't have much friends at the time.
I've actually always known you as someone who reads a lot. So
really?
Yeah, because so when you said that you stopped reading, that kind of came as a shock.
She's a fraud now. She's changed in my eyes.
It's actually been a while since I held the book. I actually miss that feeling now.
Maybe you need a title that's
because I took her
your
book.
attention again. Maybe.
It's because I took her book.
I already read the book.
Why do you have it?
What do you mean? Why do I?
Why do you have the physical book if you've already read it?
Because I like physical books.
We don't give our books, by the way.
I never give my books. I
never
let
give my
people.
books. Maybe I will give you just to read it.
Yeah, exactly.
But later on, of course. This is my legacy. Can you imagine? I'm traveling from place to another place, between different countries. Each country I go, I will just send my book to that country again. I cannot live without them.
You know what's funny? I actually relate to this. I traveled with 40 books on one.
40 books?
40
books?
Yes.
What was the weight of your luggage?
Wallahi, it was... back with 60 kilo now.
Oh,
I need
my
to send them
Lord.
home back.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, books kind of do become a part of you. I'm actually just like you guys.
Yeah, I can see that.
In the sense that I also love books.
Huh?
I love keeping them with me. I just don't read them. You know?
Same. Oh my God. Okay, same.
If you go in my room on my cupboard, I have a few books and I love them, but I never read them.
What's the point of having them that you never read?
Decoration. What do you mean? So whenever I travel, I have them with me. I literally take them everywhere. It's a toxic relationship.
When we used to live in KLG, I had this what is it? Like the bookshelf. Yeah, it was full of books.
Interesting.
Yes, and then the drawer in like the cupboard. Okay. Yeah, it was also full of books.
You never read them?
No, only one. The only book I finished was Animal Farm by George Orwell, which was really nice. But I that one, I pushed myself so hard to finish it. It's also tiny. It's like 16 pages. It's so sad. It's okay. But then when you were talking about like how you started reading, I remembered that. So how I started, So we were in Jarir, the bookstore, and then the cover of the book just caught my eye. It was like purple, and it was like it had like all these characters on it, and like I was like, I want that. And then I saw like the whole series, and it was like different colors, different like drawings, and I loved like the drawings on the cover. So I was like, which one do I didn't know yet which one was the first book, which one was the second book, or whatever. So I just chose like my favorite color. Turns out it's the second book. So I just went into the book and not understanding anything. I really enjoyed the book. Finished it in like less than a week. It was like 300 pages. It was huge. Yeah. And then I never went back to the series again. That was the end of my reading. Science books. I was very interested in like science books and stuff. I was very interested in science. But then but I would actually read, like I would collect science books, but then I would actually read novels.
Science books, you can read it in the morning actually, because need kind of much effort, focus, so you can understand and so on. Same with any self-development books. It's better to read it when you are highly focused, so you can get as much as you can. Novel, it's kind of story. It will let you, let's say,
Wonder and dream
in
and
something else.
Yeah, for me, I'm a
new word, or I don't know, new era maybe.
I'm a very realistic person, so novels is not really my thing anymore. But
Books,
the point's
maybe,
gone.
yeah. How about philosophy? Anyone reading philosophy thing? Yeah. Autobiography is also something interesting.
Of interesting characters.
Yeah, of course. Now I'm reading something about Gandhi, autobiography of Gandhi. It's quite heavy. Some books are quite heavy. For example, I'm not able to read more than maybe 2 or 3 pages per day. Not because I cannot read. I can. But I'm trying to digest the ideas that he wrote. So I feel like, okay, I read, and then I highlight, and then I feel, okay, stop. I reread. You know, something about books that when you read a book, and then you finish it, you feel like, okay, I like this book. 2 or 3 or 5 years later, or maybe you read the same book, but now you have a different view. You are seeing new things in that book. This has something to do with your personality.
It's like glasses that you're taking off and take different glasses. You see them
glasses,
differently.
seeing different
filter.
things. Of course. And then I feel maybe this because you are being maybe mature after 3, 4 years maybe.
You see
the
life
progress
differently.
so you see from different perspectives. So it's quite interesting. Some books are quite heavy. You feel like, I don't want to finish it. It's so nice to the point I don't want to finish it. I just read slowly. So that book, I can like read it for
I can
a longest
imagine.
time.
That's me watching TV shows.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you ever read A Little Life by...
Of course I did.
How was it? I'm
was
scared to start
interesting.
it.
Why?
Because I said it was... I heard it was a heavy book.
It is,
Okay.
but you need... Okay, I will not like... Oh no.
Don't ruin the book.
Okay, I will not
Don't
ruin the
spoil.
story. But you need, I don't know, in your case now that you are saying you are not able to back to reading, I would suggest that maybe you start with a light thing first. Maybe,
Wow, you're becoming a beginner now.
I'm not
But
a beginner.
no,
just
I
to
can get
put
into
her-
the book easily.
No,
you know?
just to put her on the track first.
Yeah, I get it.
Maybe just quick story, something light.
I mean, my journey with books started as a sad story.
Why? What kind
Did
of
I
sad
never tell
story?
you?
We had this conversation of
Yeah.
sad reading before.
I told you before.
I probably forgot. Say it again.
Let me say it again. So my journey started when I was in grade 6, I think.
Okay.
I was reading before that. Okay, it was very normal. It was like, you know, how kids are. We were encouraged to read in like schools. We didn't really have books at home, but in grade. What's wrong with you?
It's for the drama, kind of.
So, like in grade 6, I wasn't social enough, so I didn't really have much friends. So during the lunch break, I would go to the library, because like this is how I found my escape, just like how you did.
High five.
Interesting.
So I started reading books. I was like, okay, I have a goal of finishing this library before I finish high school. I was in the same school from grade 6 up until grade 11. I did not finish the goal, sadly. But I started, like, you know, from the top left row. And then I was starting to go, like, you know, all the way to the... I was trying to finish. I was trying my best to finish it. But, like, it wasn't... I don't even remember half of the books I read. But if I go to the library now, you're going to see my name written. Oh, I borrowed this book. Oh, I borrowed this book. I borrowed this book. I borrowed this book, you know? But, like, yeah, it was like the only thing I can spend my time during the lunch break. And the only thing I remember, however, is, like, picking up a physics book that's an A-level kind of related, I guess. Okay, I didn't know it at the time because I was very confused. It was all symbols. I did not understand anything. The only thing I remember was the symbol of flux. So that was what it stuck with my mind. And then when I took it in EMT, I was like, oh, I remember this from somewhere.
Flashbacks?
Holy shit!
Do you smell the book before you read it?
Yes, of course.
You feel this?
Yes.
Different smell, right?
Sometimes books smell bad.
No.
Sometimes.
No,
Yes.
they never do.
Yes.
They never do.
Yes.
They never do. What type of books do you smell?
No. I get what she's trying to say. It's probably written hashish something. I get the what she's trying to say. Sometimes they smell bad, but like in a good way. I don't know how to explain that. It's like bad paper.
Maybe the quality of the paper is not that good, maybe.
But it's still a pleasant smell for me.
For me
It's
too, of
still a
course.
book at the end of the day.
Yeah. That too.
Something special to books. If you ask, can you read it? You will say, oh, I like how books smell, so...
Interesting.
I like the paper, the feel of the paper.
So that book made you an EMT fan? I don't know.
No, not really. I'm glad to say that I finished EMT.
Dude, fun fact. If you actually find the EMT book, like the actual textbook, and then read it, it's so interesting. It
I know.
opens your brain. That's why when I used to study for my IGs, I would read. I first like to read and highlight the whole textbook, the whole chapter, and then after I finish reading, and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I study? So that was how I started studying.
It's been amazing, Oumaima, having you with us. Honestly, I wish this episode was much longer, and it really needs more than one episode because we just can't cover everything at once. However, it's been an honor having you with us. Do you have any final remarks that you would like to give?
Maybe what I can say is reading or writing, kind of friends. You cannot really write anything before you read. You cannot write a book until you read 100 books. This is first. For me, life, PhD path, and then reading is kind of puzzle. Each time you contribute to something, you put that piece of puzzle. And then after you finish, you can see the whole image or the whole picture. Same thing goes with life. Same thing goes with PhD. And then same thing goes with reading, page by page, until you can understand the whole story and you can see the whole picture. So
Interesting.
That's all for me.
Reading is the way to go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oumaima. Soon to be.
Thank you, soon to be. Thank you so much.
Inshallah.
And to the listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Do you want to say something before we leave?
Live life and prosper.
There you go, as Mariam said.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Yeah, what she said.
I thought you would say that. I thought you would say that.
Take care and assalamu alaikum. See you the next time.
Bye. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be the first writer to have not read 100 books. Watch me.